the third section of Sri Atma Siddhi Shastra, Atmarthina Lakshano, the traits of a true seeker. So what are the qualities? What are the thoughts running in the mind of an Atmarthi before he meets a Sadguru? 34, 35, 36. 37, what does he do when he meets a Sadguru? 38, how can he take the full advantage of the association of Sadguru by increasing or say developing his, cultivating that worthiness? So what does one need to do, increase his worthiness or develop or cultivate his worthiness, was shown in 38. And then 39 and 40, what if you don't do it, if you don't create worthiness, and what if you? So in verse 40 we saw, if you have developed the qualities of worthiness and you have an association of a living Guru, so what happens? Right thinking, suvicharana prakti, which will lead you to that true bliss of the soul. So how the whole path of liberation is shown in 41, and the basis of the right thinking, an introduction to the next section, is shown in 42. So it's linked with both. This is the beauty of Param Kripalu's Vachan. It's linked with the previous verse or the section and connects you to the, prepares you rather for the next. Having explained how the state of right thinking emerges in an Atmarthi because of two things, worthiness and association of a Sadguru, Nimit and Upadan. Now explaining what is the fruit of that right thinking. That is what happens after right thinking develops. What happens after worthiness has been developed? So it said right thinking. Now what happens when right thinking emerges? What happens after that? The whole sequence, or I would say what Maulik ji did in say 15-20 minutes or half an hour in his Apurva Avsar, explaining all the Gunsthanaks from 1 to 14. All this is explained in one verse. Verse 41. The whole sequence, meaning the whole path of liberation. So till that worthiness is there, you are yet in Gunsthanak 1. You have not attained Samkit. So from there to 14, all the 14 Gunsthanaks are explained briefly. So the whole path of liberation and how a worthy seeker will progress on this path. Whole path in general, and how the worthy seeker, now the seeker is worthy, the aspirant is worthy, meaning having the four virtues. How is he going to progress on the path of not self-realization, on the path of liberation? Because the first line is going to show the path of self-realization, and the second line is going to show from self-realization to complete liberation. So the whole path, that Agopya Marg, is shown in this verse 41. So what happens after right thinking develops?
Jya pragate suvicharena tya pragate nij jnana
Jya, where, or say when. Jare, so when. Jya means where. So Jya prakte suvicharna, there where arises suvicharna, right thinking. Vicharna is thinking, suvicharna meaning right thinking. What happens there? Tya prakte appears, emerges, manifests, or simple occurs. Nij Gnan, Atma Gnan, self-realization, enlightenment. Jya prakte suvicharna, tya prakte enlightenment. Enlightenment bolo, self-realization bolo, direct experience of the self bolo, samkit bolo. So, jya prakte suvicharna, tya prakte nijagnan, self-realization or enlightenment. Now what happens after that? Now what have you got? First what you had got? Worthiness. Then right thinking. So from right thinking now you have attained. So now what do you have? Self-realization. So what will happen when you have self-realization? So je gnane, with the help of that knowledge, or say by that knowledge or by that enlightenment, kshaya moha thai. Moha means delusion. There are two types of delusion, I'll tell you. But moha means delusion. Kshay thai. Kshay thai means gets being destroyed. And then what happens? Pame pad nirvan. One attains the state of complete liberation. Why I am saying complete liberation? Because already when he attained Nij Gnan, there was liberation from ignorance, though not from indolence, pramad, kashay, but from agnan or from mithyatva he is already liberated. So I am using the word complete liberation. Complete liberation where there are no karmas, no body, mind, nothing. So, jya prakte suvicharna, tya prakte enlightenment. Now what do we do with this enlightenment? Work on your moh. And this, by this right knowledge, moh, delusion will be destroyed, and eventually you will achieve complete liberation. And the word coined here for complete liberation is nirvan. Nirvan means absolute freedom, complete liberation. So short meaning, when the right thought processes arises in him means worthy seeker. So when the right thought processes arises in him, self-realization arises or occurs. This self-realization results in annihilation of delusion, and the soul attains liberation from cycles of birth and death. With the contemplation of the nature of the self comes self-realization, which removes infatuation and ignorance, and the soul attains liberation. Same thing, but in different words. So the question here is, if you want to understand this verse better, the question, what makes the soul wander in cycles of birth and death? What makes the worldly soul, not even Siddhas are soul, Siddha Bhagavans are also soul, but they don't wander. So I'm saying worldly soul. Sansari jeev came bhatkeche. Sansar. Sansari. So what makes the worldly soul wander? So answer in context of this verse, I would say, because of absence of right thinking. Because the verse starts with ja prakte suvicharna. So that is the answer. Why is he wandering in the cycles of birth and death? Because of the absence of why thinking is there. Right thinking is there, not there. Why? Because the soul is in delusion. So all his thinking is from delusion, and this thinking increases the delusion. If the thinking is only regarding I and mine, and that I is the body, and the mine is the worldly objects or worldly people, if your thinking comes from delusion, so it is regarding I and mine, and that I and mine are also wrong. So imagine whatever you'll be thinking, this is going to become denser, stronger. Are you understanding? So, why is the soul wandering? Absence of right thinking. Why is there an absence of right thinking? Because of delusion. Moha. Delusion એટલે moha. So because the thoughts come out from his moh, and the thoughts turns into words, deeds, feelings, and all this increases your moh. Some more sanskars, which makes your moh stronger. Correct? See, whatever and whenever you're thinking, more you think, your feelings start get affecting. If it's just a figment of thought, your feelings won't change. But if you have been thinking, say, for 3-4 minutes regarding the same thing, slowly it penetrates and your feelings start getting affected. May it be love, may it be hate, whatever it is. And that, again, there is an impact on your belief. Rather, your wrong beliefs get stronger. Because you have been experiencing happiness, say, from that thought. So when you experience happiness, extract happiness from a thought or feeling, your belief becomes stronger again. So you see the cycle. And it seems you can never break this cycle. Thoughts from delusion, and thoughts increasing your delusion. So more smart you are, more intelligent you are, more is your delusion going to be. Stronger, because it is in the wrong direction. If you think also, your delusion increases. If you overthink also, your delusion is going to increase. If you think less also, delusion is there. It's not if you don't think and then delusion will be destroyed. That is already there. So it seems there is no end to this cycle. Delusion, thinking, delusion, thinking. There is association of a Sadguru, worthiness, absorb the teachings with what? Interest and enthusiasm and devotion, dedication, and so many things we talked about yesterday. So, association of a Sadguru, see, delusion, okay? Association of a Sadguru, your worthiness, your listening, grasping, absorbing with deep interest to the level the preaching or the teachings start penetrating. So the thinking now is not from delusion. Because Vachma Swavigu, the preachings of the enlightened, right? So there was delusion and things were coming from here, thoughts. But now there is the teachings, and the teachings have penetrated, right? So penetration is very important, not the teachings. So the whole game again, the ball is in the court of Upadan, not Nimit, if it penetrates. Don't worry about Upadan and all, it will come in conclusion, the Upsamhar. So now the thoughts are coming from this layer, from the teachings of the enlightened master. Okay? And so these thought processes or these thoughts or this thinking is called right thinking. Now what does right thinking do? So that is going to work on your delusion. So nice. Now it's not coming from delusion and it is going towards delusion and the annihilation of delusion. So it's very clear. So delusion is of two types. Is of two types. One type of delusion is which is regarding your faith, called darshan moh. And the other type of delusion is which is regarding delusion regarding your conduct or behavior or actions. So that is charitra moh. So we have two problems. Delusion, yes, but two types of delusion. Two problems, nothing. Actually, by understanding this, at least let's start working on the faith delusion. If that is solved, then we'll start working on the conduct delusion. And having destroyed both, you are ready for omniscience. You are ready for Keval Jnana. Why I am saying this? To understand this verse, it's going to be easier now. Once there is more, so both is there. Faith delusion is also there and conduct delusion is also there. With the preachings of the enlightened master and with the devotion you have for the enlightened master, the faith delusion starts decreasing. Decreasing. Destroyed. Once it is destroyed, you are going to attain self-realization. But still that conduct delusion is there, which is called charitra. So now we will work on that. Awareness and alertness. And when the conduct delusion gets destroyed, you are going to attain nirvana eventually. So this is exactly Athoji map aapyo. Now I'll explain the verse. What is exactly shown? Delusion are of two types. Faith delusion, conduct. So when the faith delusion is destroyed, you attain Nij Gnan. If you want to use the word of the verse, Nij Gnan or self-realization or right faith or samkhet or enlightenment. You want to write all four? Then I will wait for you. Samkhet, self-realization. So you can't write self-realization, you have to just write SR. Huh? So SR or Samkhet or enlightenment or right faith or last experience, direct experience of the self. What remains? Delusion is not totally destroyed. Only the faith delusion is destroyed. Conduct delusion is there which hinders you to stay in your, abide in your soul constantly. It's an hindrance. You like it, but you can't stay soul absorbed because of that conduct delusion. It makes you do all wrong stuff, though knowing it is wrong, because faith delusion is gone. So now you have to work on that. And once that is destroyed, Pame Pada Nirvana. So we are going to understand this in brief. So, as Dr. Mansi said, recap. So association of a guru is developing your worthiness, is preaching, his presence is preaching. It brings radical changes, you said, within. I said? Okay. Radical changes first in your equations, in your understanding, in your belief system. And obviously deeds. So radical changes means From outside, everything turns inside. So that's why I said radical changes. Not nana changes, but totally happiness is outside, happiness turns into happiness within. So radical changes. So this is a very, very important phase of your life. Very, very important. Everything is changing. Someone is blaming you, screaming at you, and still you feel either nothing has happened, you are totally indifferent, or you feel thoda weak ho, so you'll feel it is only due to my karmas. That's if you are weak. Actually, you have to stay indifferent only. There's nothing like karmas, nothing is happening only. That's the best state. But say you can't stay in that state, so you say it is my karmas which are getting manifested. Samewala to just an instrument, just a nimitt. If you are weaker, તો આટલું પહેલાંનું સાચું છે પણ આટલું ખોટું છે, પણ આપણે તો સાચા ઉપર ફોકસ કરવાનું. 10% what that person is blaming me for, so 10% is right, so I should be focusing on the 10%, but 90% is wrong. That is if you are the weakest. And then comes anger and all, Artha Dhyan, Raudra Dhyan. That is if you are useless, not weak. Very clear, right? So this is happening, but by constant reflecting upon the Guru's, Sadguru's teachings may last only for an hour, say. But reflecting on the teachings can be 24 hours. It can be in your dreams also, in your sleep also. Okay, and because of that, you develop right faith, right equations. So you will not misinterpret any situation henceforth. It's not only useful for this 1 hour. The teachings are going to be useful for, say, whole life. Because when you understand and you change your equation, you are now not going to misunderstand or misinterpret any situation. Correct? So, by constantly reflecting on the Guru's, Sadguru's teachings, your equations start changing, your beliefs start changing, you develop right faith. And not only right faith, your interest in spirituality increases. Don't you think you were talking about meditation, say 10 years back also? Okay, but the interest is different. You have been attending satsang, say, 10 years back, but today it is different. You had been writing some points of the satsang that time also, but this time it is different. So the interest in spirituality and the aspiring, the longing becomes deep, or you will say it increases. The moment that increases, now see this, you need to see this. Interest in spirituality, why? Because of reflecting on the Guru's teachings, not Guru's teachings. Reflecting on the Guru's teachings, this interest is, so it's like a scale, traju. So one goes up, something has to go down. Both can't go up. Then it's a fairy tale. If this is, the interest in spirituality is increasing, so what is going to go down? Faith delusion. Or, for those who understand, darshan moh. So darshan moh is becoming manda, weaker. And the faith is increasing. So you actually didn't know anything about darshan moh. You didn't know you have to work on your darshan moh. You just knew this much, I love my Guru. Whatever he's saying is right and beneficial, both. Right also and beneficial to me. And I enjoy doing it. Bas, you knew only this part of the story. So you increased your love, your faith, and your reflection. And something happened on the other side. What happened? Darshan Mohniya Karma or Darshan Mohan Rupi Bhav, whatever, faith, delusion, the feelings which deluded your faith. Isn't it common sense? What are you saying? What are you looking at me? I'm saying faith increases, so faith delusion decreases. What am I saying? I'm just fooling you people. I'm saying because faith increases, that no faith decreases. It is so simple. It is so simple. Studying this darshan more, chakkar is so simple. You start increasing your faith, and the no faith or the faith delusion, the darshan moh, darshan ne je munjwe, dirty kare, disturb kare, faith delusion, which we call darshan moh in the scriptural terms. Apurva Avsar starts with darshan moh vyatit thai upajyo bodh je. Apurva Avsar starts with that. Clear? So what's happening? Because of the teachings, your faith, your interest, your longing for spirituality is increasing. So all your beliefs are at least aligned with him. And to make your beliefs aligned with him, you need the right thinking. So that is what the verse starts with. Jya prakte suvicharana, tya baddhi shraddha or belief is in alignment with the Sadguru or with the truth. Now you don't even need Sadguru because Sadguru is the truth and truth is Sadguru. God is truth and truth is God. Kone kidhu? Mahatma Gandhi. Truth is God. So I say God is truth. You understood? So because of the reflection on the teachings, your thinking, which changes your belief, your faith, your interest in spirituality increases. So your darshan moh, the faith delusion decreases. And due to this intense longing for self-realization, he consciously starts practicing discrimination, meaning Bhed Gnan. હું શરીર નથી, હું આત્મા છું. આ ક્રોધ તે હું નથી. I am a pure soul. This impurity is just passing through me. I am not impure. My soul does not become impure. The inherent nature of the soul is not getting corrupted, polluted, defiled, impure. Impurity is just passing through me. So I just need to be a witness of it, nothing more. So consciously he starts, pachi effortlessly thase, but now consciously he starts practicing the method of discrimination, rather we will call it Bhed Gnan. And after this Bhed Gnan, he starts ignoring what he is not and focusing on what he is. Separate to karya. You know, you go out and there are a lot of chappals. So what do you do first? Bhed Gnan. First you will do Bhed Gnan. આ મારા નથી અને આ મારું છે અને આ બધા મારા નથી because all are so similar. So first you need to do Bhed Gnan. Then what do you do? મારા છે તે પહેરીને જાઓ. And then leave all that. So start ignoring this. First discriminate, then ignore, and then absorb. Actually, it's done. Atmagnan is apno lakshya and we finished actually. So I'm just completing the verse now. Our purpose is, like you exactly know, reflect on his teachings, increase your interest in spirituality, start practicing discrimination, and after that, ignore what you are not and absorb what you are. Over. So due to this constant contemplation and meditation, faith delusion is completely destroyed, and the direct experience of the self you attain, which is called self-realization. Completely. See, it was decreasing. Now I'm saying destroyed. So it decreases, 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 and the moment it is destroyed, you are attaining Nijgnan or Atmagnan. What happens then? You enjoy the blissful taste of the nectar of self-realization. It's not nothingness. It's not emptiness. You may say, you may express it as emptiness because there is no negativity in that term. But that doesn't mean there's nothing. It's just space. That is self-realization. No, it's a blissful experience, nectar-like. And that is what he enjoys when he attains Nijgnan. The word of the word in this verse, Nijgnan, or say self-realization or enlightenment. So now he is enjoying, and the sweetness of the experience is such that it is deeply imprinted in your mind. Deeply imprinted. આપણે પેલું પાલિતાણાની યાત્રા કરીએ and say in the summer months if we go, and બપોરના 2 વાગે we start climbing down and we are so thirsty, અને નીચે પહોંચીને આપણે ઠંડુ લીંબુ પાણી, ખાટું, મીઠું, ઠંડુ. So the experience is so soothing that it's deeply imprinted in you. So even in winter months you may ask for that now, because the impression is that limbu pani is fantastic drink to have. So this nectar-like bliss, the impact is so deep, it has left such a deep impression in your mind, because during the experience you are beyond the mind. During the experience you were beyond the mind, beyond your senses. You were in a trance. But what happens? The sanskars, the instincts, or say it is so deeply imprinted in your mind that your mind starts longing for that again and again. મને પાછું પેલી અનુભૂતિમાં સ્થિર થવું છે, મને પાછું નિર્વિકલ્પ થવું છે. Again I want to go back into that no mind state. જરાક ભાવિને બધા થોડા વહેલા ઉઠે એટલે તમને કેવા વિચારો આવે આખા દિવસમાં? એક 10 મિનિટ કયો નેપ ને? કેટ નેપ. હા, એટલે ઊભા ઊભા થોડીક વાર સૂઈ જવાનું કેટની જેમ. In the same way, that longing is such that if I am getting 1 minute also, let me again get absorbed in my soul. Because that is deeply imprinted, that was a fantastic moment. And I have enjoyed, and there was so much peace, so much bliss. So the longing for continuous experiencing, unbroken, unobstructed, ceaseless. So that begins. And here the next line of the verse starts. Because of the wanting, the longing of that ceaseless experience, constant joy, not just some time of the day. I want that experience constantly, ceaselessly, unobstructed. Activities bhale chalto hai, but I want that experience to continue. And when it continues, you call it a trance. And the word for trance is samadhi. So vikalpa samadhi and nirvikalpa samadhi. So we have talked about all this during our Varti Antarshod. So vikalpa samadhi, and there are 2 types of trance, where the mind is working and the mind is not active. Both. But a state of trance. So now this happens and this is increasing. The trance period is increasing. So constant longing, so obviously effortlessly going into the trance now because of the longing itself. So you are going to be pulled. You don't have to push yourself into meditation. Now see the difference. Your meditation is where you have to push yourself into meditation. Chalo 4 વાગી ગયા છે ધ્યાનમાં બેસો. You can only nod if you are getting up at 4 o'clock and sitting for meditation. But here you are pushing yourself. And now what happens after Nijagnan? You are being pulled into that meditative state or that trance, or may it be Savikalpa Samadhi or Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Uninterrupted bliss of abidance of the self, constantly being absorbed in the self, is the only desire now. If you want to say in terms of desire, that is the only longing. So although the impact of self-realization is such that faith delusion is destroyed only, but there is conduct delusion left. The impact of self-realization is such that the strength is very much reduced of that charitra moh or the conduct delusion. Still, it does hinder the soul to remain in itself constantly. So, little bit like this. He wants to stay constantly in that trance. But because of this conduct delusion, or say charitra moh, thodu fluctuate thai. And that he doesn't like. So now the second round of preaching, the Guru Gam he gets, what do I do? And the Guru gives the aspirant, or now say the realized soul, keys to increase his awareness and alertness. Awareness came Jagrati. Jagrati came vade. Athva to Jagrati came na tute. And now that Purusharth starts. So, because of this constant alertness and awareness, the aspirant who has already attained self-realization or enlightenment, fourth Gunsthana, now moves ahead because he's getting more and more sthir and steady in his self-absorption. So he's becoming steadier. So what happens? I'm making it a little difficult because a lot of emotional thing we passed since 4-5 days. So now understand how one will. This is not emotion. This is a devotion. So this devotion, what is it going to bring? What is the result of the devotion towards a Sadguru? I'm explaining that. Interest in spirituality will increase. Delusion, faith delusion will decrease. Then it will get destroyed. Then you will be absorbed in your soul. But you will need to work for constant self-absorption. And then you actually work for that and increase your alertness and awareness. And then what happens? Slowly, or say gradually, he moves, the aspirant moves ahead on the path of liberation, and he attains apramatta sanyam. Why should I talk about fifth and sixth? I already talked of fourth Gunsthana, enlightenment. So fifth and sixth are all methods towards, it's all about working towards destruction of conduct delusion now. Faith delusion is over, so now only one thing to work on, conduct. So I want to go to the best. Seventh, what is that? Apramatta sanyam. Sanyam means what? Some feel sanyam means renunciation. It's wrong. Tamil renunciation, like kuch. It's wrong. Renunciation means tyaga. So Sanyam actually means restraints, meaning staying focused within. So now he's apramat, non-indolent or non-lazy, whatever you want to write. No pramad now, no indolence. Absorbed in the soul with very, very little effort. Very little effort, not great efforts. All the great efforts is in creating your worthiness. After that, everything is less, less, and lesser and lesser. So, with little effort, he remains apramat in himself. Okay? So, don't use the words, don't interpret the word Sanyam as renunciation, tyag. So much of non-self is not there only in his dhyan. Interpret the meaning of these words when you are using with apramat as absorbed in the soul. Renunciation એટલે હજી આ છોડવાનું છોડવાનું છોડવાનું. And the first feeling you get when you read the word renunciation is tyag. Something છોડવાનું. છોડો એટલા બધા તો વિકલ્પ જ રહેતા નથી. It's like constantly being with it. It is just between savikalp and nirvikalp actually. It's not between self and non-self. It is just savikalp dhara mati, nirvikalp dhara, nothing else. So you might find it difficult if you have not known the Gunsthanak and all. So I will summarize it in a very simple way, but for those who understand it, you need to know how beautifully it has been put in one verse. First line is from 1 to 4, and second line is from 5 to 14. Let's say 4 to 14. Whole path in one verse. Even the previous Gnanis needed 14 steps to make you understand the whole path. 14 steps which are called the 14 Gunsthanaks. And here in one verse, the whole path from 1 to 14 is covered. So that's the beauty of an experienced one. So where were we? We were at 7, Apramatta Sanyam. And then he ascends the Shapak Sheni. All this Apurvaji has Maulik has explained. Shapak Sheni, and in simple words, ladder, you climb on that ladder and destroy the conduct delusion totally as you climb the ladder from 8 to 9 to 10. And the last samay of the 10th Gunsthanak, your conduct delusion is also totally annihilated, totally destroyed. Last samay of the 10th Gunsthanak. Then what? And then the 3 Ghati karmas. Ghati pacha I'll explain. When we come to the 4th pad and all, I'll be explaining all the 8 karmas. Even in Mokshupai. Karma Ananta Prakarna, Tema Mukhya 8. There I'll explain everything in detail. So now the 3 Ghati karmas, namely the Gnanavarniya karma, the Darshanavarniya karma, and the Antaray karma, they get destroyed. They actually, you don't have to do anything for it. You only have to work on your faith delusion and your conduct delusion, and more ever on your faith delusion. So just faith in your Guru can liberate you. Bas finish. It means. So what happens? These 3 also get destroyed within 48 minutes. No power at all. Now that they realize that moh is over, delusion is over, so they say, let's bid farewell. Apni jate જ આપણે ચાલ્યા જઈએ. Let him not do anything with us. So they surrender, it seems. So Gnanavaniya, Darshanavaniya and Antarai goes. So what four has gone? Obstructing karmas, Ghati karmas, Moniya, Gnanavaniya, Darshanavaniya and Antarai. Four is gone. What happened? You reach the 13th step, and that is omniscience, Keval Gnan. And then what happens? See, Maulikji, you took 3 days for the whole process. I am taking one and at least say 45 minutes. Son. This was 45 minutes. And Bhagwan must have taken just 20 seconds to write this verse. 20 seconds, 30 seconds, what he must have written this verse. With everything so clear in his... So what happens then? After he attains, after omniscience is manifested within him, manifest why? Because he explained that Kali prakte che keval nan. Utpannat thatu, you explained that in Apurva, sir. Pragatavu nija keval gnana nidanjo. So I'm using the word manifest. I'm not saying attained, something outside which was attained. So I'm using the word manifest. After that, the non-obstructing karmas, they get destroyed. And what happens? Once they are destroyed, you attain the state of complete liberation called Nirvana, the end of becoming. I didn't say the end of being. No, some philosophies say it is the end of being. That's the end of the flame. No being is there, but becoming nahi. So the end, someone said, right? Someone said it is the end of becoming. End of becoming. Or end of beginning, because now no rebirths. Now you don't have to be born again. You have attained complete liberation. So, if you don't want to understand this whole verse in terms of gun, sthanak and all, so this much is enough. Jya prakte suvicharna, because of constantly being engrossed in Guru's preachings due to your worthiness. So all my previous gathas have come. Because of your worthiness, you love your Guru, you love the path so much that you are totally engrossed in it. And because you are engrossed, right thinking appears, emerges. So, jya prakte suvicharana. Because of this right thinking, you attain that right faith, and that too with experience. So, tya prakte nijagnan, atmagnan, because of this right thinking. Then what? So, conduct delusion is getting destroyed. The process has already begun, and Jai Gnane Kshaita, and finally it is destroyed. And once it is destroyed, it's just a matter of some time where the other 3 karmas, the other 4 karmas get destroyed, and you attain the state of Nirvana, meaning complete liberation. So the whole sequence, the whole progress, and the whole path is revealed in this verse, whole path, number 1. Whole path. Because in the beginning of the verse, he was at Gunsthanak 1. Jya. Jya. And the last word, Nirvan, he is at 14. Isn't it beautiful? So, number 1, whole path. Number 2, whole sequence. Exactly in sequence. Is not just saying, and eventually you will attain liberation. That is showing without showing the sequence. This you are seeing exactly when you will go there, then there will be 2, you have to turn left, then you have to go roundabout, aate. In sequence, why you show the path. That is a wonderful guidance. Don't go this way, go this way. And you can just say, just go and reach the community gardens. I can say that way. And I can show you the sequence. I'm just so, pachi, the future clock tower will come, the present roundabout, okay. I'm just speaking this so that Raman can hear. Um, so, roundabout છે, but future clock tower થવાનું છે. તમારું લેસ્ટરમાં ને મેન્ચેસ્ટરમાં ને લંડનમાં હોય ક્લોક ટાવર. So we have squares and circles and clock towers. આખી geometry છે અહીંયા. So basically it means right thinking is the soul's wake up call. Because you're seeing the whole thing's triggered by right thinking. Internally, externally with the association of a guru, but internally, so right thinking is the soul's wake up call. And once the soul stirs from sleep, right conduct is going to follow. Thinking is right થાય તો conduct તો right આવવાનું જ. So once he wakes up from that sleep, then right conduct. And so with that right thought and right conduct, delusion is going to be destroyed. Because the purity you will experience, and in its pristine beauty and radiant glory, enlightenment occurs. I can sum up the whole verse into only 4 words. Enlightenment occurs, liberation follows. બંનેમાં આપનો વટ ઊંચો રાખ્યો મેં. Enlightenment occurs, as if I am much bigger than even enlightenment. હું તો અનાદિ અનંત શુદ્ધ છું. એક શુદ્ધતા થોડી ઉત્પન્ન થાય એમાં શું મોટી વાત છે? What's so great? Only the faith is becoming right, but I am endowed with so many gunas. Okay, so enlightenment occurs, liberation follows. This is the Kumari of Shuddhatma. It's not Ahankar. It's a Shuddhatma, pure souls ni akhi. So that pristine beauty, that purity, when the faith delusion gets destroyed, and imagine yathakhyata charitra, when the conduct delusion gets destroyed. It's wonderful. So sequence is also so nice. You exactly know where you are and how will you proceed. So whole path, the sequence, and exactly how you need to progress. All 3 things woven so beautifully. Let's sing.
જ્યાં પ્રગટે સુવિચારણા ત્યાં પ્રગટે નિજ જ્ઞાન. જે જ્ઞાને ક્ષય મોહ થઈ પામે